Ah yes, the artisanal foot-squeezed pomegranate juice, straight from the vineyard of hepatitis and gravel. First, our barefoot sommelier steps in, crushing each seed with a precision only achieved through years of walking on questionable terrain. The flavor? A delicate mix of fruit, sweat, and tetanus. Michelin who? This is terroir. Next comes the filtering phase, a sophisticated process involving a plastic bin, a rag that's seen war, and fingers that have touched everything except soap. Finally, a splash of mountain water, aka whatever was lying around, to balance the acidity and the bacteria count. The result? A rustic beverage with the bouquet of despair and the aftertaste of regret. Served best at room temperature, specifically the same temperature as the dirt it was born in. Ah yes, the Indian holy spin cycle, where the buffet meets the washing machine and human dignity officially resigns. Behold these culinary warriors rolling through the leftovers like meatballs of devotion, seasoning every bite with armpit essence, knee grease, and whatever divine bacteria lives on the pavement. Each spin purifies the soul and contaminates the rice. Who needs Michelin stars when your meal has been personally blessed by 50 sweaty torsos performing synchronized food assault? Forget hygiene. This is religion, chaos, and gastroenteritis all rolled into one. At first glance, you think he's fixing the road. A civic hero, perhaps, smoothing out the nation's potholes with sheer determination and epidermis. The sun beats down, the asphalt sizzles, and there he goes, rotating like a kebab of devotion, spreading a fine layer of sweat-based adhesive across the highway. But wait, what's this all for? Why the suffering? Why the friction? And then she appears. The camera pans, and there she is, Cap Woman India, high oracle of odor, walking like a saint who just lost a fight with a garbage truck. Suddenly, everything makes sense. This isn't construction, it's consecration. He's not paving the road, he's blessing it with his spine in honor of the goddess of grime, patron deity of everything sticky, smelly, and spiritually septic. Clothes forged from decades of mysterious liquids, texture somewhere between fermented rag and archaeological find. People gather in awe, bowing before her as if she were radiating divine energy. Though it's mostly fumes, her shirt, once pink, now tells the geological history of stains. Her skirt drips with the wisdom of 1,000 unwashed sunsets. She doesn't just walk, she oozes purpose. Every droplet that falls from her is a blessing, every smell a sermon. The faithful bow down not to cleanliness, but to chaos incarnate. A living monument to humanity's refusal to buy detergent. And beside her, the man who rolled on asphalt now understands his place. He wasn't just rolling. He was preparing the ground for her divine sludge procession. Before anything else, let's be clear. This sacred cooking space is not sponsored by Dawn Ultra, though every frame screams lemon-scented grease remover. Here we witness a man in a red shirt, calmly preparing what can only be described as the world's first dishwashing potion buffet. He starts by scooping a mysterious green sludge straight from the underworld. Texture, radioactive pesto, aroma, regret, and menthol. Next, he pours in 2 entire bottles of something so shiny and viscous it could degrease a tractor engine. The crowd watches in awe as the cauldrons foam up like they're about to summon a clean kitchen sink deity. Then comes the seasoning, chili powder, neon green syrup, and cheese. Because of course, nothing says fine dining like dairy on detergent. He stirs with the serenity of a man who knows his food can dissolve fingerprints. By the end, it's not a recipe. It's a chemical experiment served with confidence. A single spoonful and your internal organs come out squeaky clean. Behold the fish tank fizz, a refreshing beverage that boldly asks, what if aquarium maintenance was also a drink? Served straight from a full-sized aquarium that probably hosted goldfish last week, this neon green swamp juice is the perfect balance between citrus zest and microbiological uncertainty. The texture, a lively mix of tadpoles, chia seeds, and the dreams of anyone who once trusted public water. Each scoop promises a gulp of mystery, floating lemon slices for the illusion of freshness, in a base color that screams radioactive mango. It's not a drink, it's an ecosystem in a glass, complete with its own food chain. Hydration? Questionable. Experience? Spiritual. Because nothing quenches thirst like sipping directly from Poseidon's foot bath. Ah yes, the Chernobyl salad bar, where vegetables and regret meet in one glorious metallic bowl. The chef begins by tossing together shredded cabbage, onions, and what appears to be yesterday's compost, all marinated in the ambient air of the street. Then, like forbidden jewels, he crowns the chaos with 4 glowing orange eggs that look like they've been aged in sulfur and despair. Each ingredient is meticulously not washed, preserving that authentic roadside crunch of gravel and mystery. A drizzle of something brown from an unlabeled pot adds the finishing touch. Whether it's sauce, oil, or potion remains between the chef and God. Served in a steel cup for maximum tetanus absorption, this isn't just a salad, it's a live experiment in microbial evolution. One bite and you'll taste every health code violation known to mankind. Ah yes, the sacred chicken cauldron, where every gesture is an act of pure, unsupervised chaos. It begins with the chef's hands, those majestic, unwashed instruments of destiny, diving straight into a mountain of shredded chicken, like he's searching for his lost dignity somewhere between the tendons. Each grab is tender yet violent, as if he's trying to both caress and punish the poultry for existing. He doesn't use tongs, spoons, or any sign of civilization. No, he opts for the primal method, bare hands plunging into the bucket of lukewarm bird bits with the sensual precision of a man who's done this in at least 3 past lives. Every handful squelches like an ASMR recording from a meat nightmare. He drops the chicken into cups with the confidence of a surgeon who gave up mid-operation, then baptizes it all in a mysterious orange sauce that looks like it was siphoned straight from the engine of a tuk-tuk. But wait, salvation arrives in the form of one final act, a waterfall of thick, simmering liquid poured from a height worthy of a national ceremony. The result? A dish that's equal parts soup, ritual, and emotional trauma. A meal that doesn't just feed you, it touches you, spiritually and bacterially. First things first, the man's hairnet is doing the bare minimum. A tiny hat of virtue on a chef who cooks like he's conducting an ancient ritual. He ladles up a ladle of oil so dark it looks like it's been aging in a time capsule since the Industrial Revolution, glossy, black, and proud of every century it's lived through. He drops a handful of minced meat, cracks an egg over it with the solemnity of a scientist adding the final reagent, then slaps the whole mixture into the pan and pats it into a disc the size of a manhole cover. It doesn't sizzle so much as declare its existence. That patty looks like it could anchor a small ship or stop a window from shattering if you threw it hard enough. His hands move with calm efficiency. No frantic chef theatrics, just the patient gestures of someone who knows exactly how stubborn that oil is and how proud the patty will be when it finally gives up a corner to the spatula. The scene feels half culinary show, half myth. You expect a choir to swell as he flips that slab and reveals whether the inside is tender or the product of several geological epochs. It's absurd, a little terrifying, and utterly captivating. The sort of cooking that makes you lean in, hold your breath, and wonder if you've just witnessed food or the forging of a new kind of roadside monument. Ah yes, the Fruit Graveyard Deluxe, where all expired fruits go to achieve immortality in syrup. Here stands the vendor, calm, composed, and surrounded by what looks like the aftermath of a blender explosion organized by color and viscosity. Each mountain glistens with the sticky pride of decades-old sugar as mango peels, citrus rinds, and unidentified organic matter fuse into geological formations of sweetness and despair. He reaches into one mound, barehanded of course, fishing out relics of what might have once been oranges, now preserved in a marinade of diabetes and regret. The texture? Somewhere between jam and fossil fuel. The smell? Equal parts nostalgia and fermentation. Customers watch in awe as he scoops the gooey remains into a tiny plastic bag. A snack and a life decision all in one. This isn't candy. This is archaeological confectionery, sugar-coated evidence of humanity's refusal to throw anything away. Here we have the radiation vendor of indoor, master of the street-level periodic table. In front of him, a glorious lineup of metallic canisters, each one glowing faintly like it's storing experimental isotopes rather than food. One looks like lemon sludge, another like swamp potion, and the third, well, that one's legally classified as unknown matter. But the real showstopper is the mountain of compressed chickpeas, sculpted into a perfect hemisphere of mystery and topped generously with what appears to be freshly mowed lawn. It's both a meal and an ecosystem, a microclimate of spice, humidity, and questionable life forms. With surgical precision, he pierces the crust of the garbanzo planet, scooping out a molten core of curry and stuffing it into India's version of fortune cookies. Crunchy orbs of destiny that predict diarrhea with 97% accuracy. Every scoop drips with confidence. Every move a dance with salmonella. And yet, locals line up, not for flavor, but for the thrill of gambling with gastrointestinal fate. Because when you eat from these glowing vats of culinary chaos, you don't just taste India, you transcend the food pyramid entirely. If you've made it this far without throwing up or questioning reality, you're officially part of the resistance. So subscribe, it really helps the channel grow. And don't skip the comments. That's where the true masterpieces of human insanity live. Thanks for keeping this chaos alive. Ah yes, the fortune cookies of doom, locally known as panipuri, but spiritually classified as Russian roulette in snack form. The chef begins by mixing a mysterious beige paste, equal parts chickpea, onion, chili, and untraceable life decisions, all bound together in a consistency that defies physics. Each handful lands inside those fragile golden shells, crispy little bombs of destiny stacked high, beside a bag of rice that's seen things no rice should see. Out of the 6 he serves, 1 will grant you joy, and the other 5 will have you praying to every deity available within the hour. It's not just street food, it's a digestive challenge, a test of faith, and an unlicensed thrill ride for your intestines. One bite and you'll find out if you've been blessed or chosen for reincarnation. Ah yes, the caffeine alchemist, master of transforming milk, mystery, and microbes into something that only legally qualifies as coffee. It all starts with a cauldron that looks like it was rescued from a scrapyard explosion. Into it, he dumps what appears to be ground coffee, or possibly dried insects, with the solemn confidence of a man who hasn't seen a hygiene inspector in his entire career. The brew bubbles like a medieval potion, releasing the aroma of raw adrenaline and mild regret. Then comes the milk, thick, foamy, and reacting to the coffee like it's auditioning for a chemistry documentary. Within seconds, the mixture begins curdling into something halfway between a cappuccino and a block of feta. The surface bubbles violently as if trying to escape its own destiny. Finally, he pours the concoction into tiny plastic cups from a height that defies physics, splashing half of it onto the counter and most likely into another dimension. The result? A drink so strong it bypasses your bloodstream and negotiates directly with your soul. One sip and you're not awake. You're reborn, slightly dizzy, and possibly lactose intolerant now. Ah yes, the sacred bull's regret, a dish so unholy it looks like it was scraped straight off the floor of a slaughterhouse during monsoon season. The chef begins by plunging his bare hands into what can only be described as textured despair, a thick, lumpy paste of vegetables, lentils, and unprocessed sadness. Each scoop drips with the consistency of something that's both solid and emotionally unstable. Then in a bold artistic move, he serves it not on a plate, but on a square of recycled paper, possibly a restaurant menu from a past victim. The presentation? A modern masterpiece titled Gargle of the Bull. The smell alone could summon tears, repentance, or at least a mild hallucination. By the time it's handed to you, it doesn't resemble food anymore. It's a biological statement, a philosophical question about the limits of digestion. One bite and your tongue files for early retirement. First of all, this woman isn't here to take your order. She's here to command the kitchen multiverse. In front of her stands an arsenal of pots that makes the Slipknot drummer look under-equipped. Each one bubbles with mystery, danger, and destiny, and she moves between them with the confidence of someone who knows no mortal can stop her. You ask for just one dish? Cute. She'll give you whatever the universe decides in that moment. A spoonful of chaos, a ladle of curry, maybe a hint of regret, all served with divine indifference. Don't try to specify not spicy or less gravy. She's not listening. She's in her groove, performing a percussive solo with ladles and oil, summoning flavors like a culinary demigod. By the time she's done, you won't have what you ordered. You'll have what destiny chose for you. Ah yes, the anabolic apple, forged somewhere between the banks of the Ganges and the dumbbell rack of a roadside gym. This isn't your average fruit. This apple looks like it drinks protein shakes and judges weaker fruits at the market. The vendor peels it open like a surgeon with no medical license, revealing a core that's seen things, divine things. Then the ritual begins. A generous splash of chili oil, a dusting of turmeric, and a drizzle of something that looks like motor fluid blessed by the gods of indigestion. The mixture bubbles with the energy of pre-workout and regret. By the time it's done, the apple's less a snack and more a spiritual challenge. One bite and you'll feel your sinuses open, your ancestors scream, and your biceps grow out of sheer survival instinct.